Hello, Instagram. I'm back again. And this time, Roarie is going to join me here in a moment. So before they get here, I'm just going to let you know this is a little preview to the community conversation, the whole conversation that we're going to have on Saturday, which is tomorrow, the 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's a free live video call with us. It's going to be the whole community, everybody that registered is able to come and join us. We'll be talking about body language, and I'm very excited, and how body language fits into our artistic practice. We have time for me and Roarie and hopefully Lior, if they're feeling better. I'm not sure yet if they'll be able to join us or not, but there'll be time for each of us to talk about our artistic practice and how body language fits into that. And then we also have a space for all of the participants to share their views. Oh yes, Roarie is here. For the second half of the event, so I'm really excited to have y'all join us. Waiting for Roarie to join. Yay! I think it's starting maybe.
Oh no, what's happening?
Why are you brown? Gray? I'm confused. Oh, yay, there you are.
Oh, technology.
Yeah. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you?
It's so dreary here in North Carolina.
It's been raining for the last day and a half.
I hope that everyone that the storm is going through isn't affected.
Yeah, I hope so. We shall see.
So we're so close. Today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday. I don't know where the week has gone. To our, which is pretty exciting. These events have been steadily growing. We've gotten more and more folks joining and more diverse artistic practices. Doug, one of your friends, is an artist, but he works within the realm of creating characters for books. And I think he's also now into photography as well.
Yeah, he just started doing some photography, I think, last year. Yeah, last year.
That's super cool. And primarily the intention of the group is to have a gathering of artists who have different medium practices and to talk about the creative process while processing. I love how Lior put this, and I don't want to rob them of that. So I'm going to try and say something that's quite similar, but allow them to say it in the best way possible. They said as if you're not affirming something consciously, you're subconsciously affirming something else. And I thought, wow, that's so impactful because I hadn't thought about it in that way. And that's the beauty of what that group is that you share, something that you're working on and how you see it. And then it kind of helps me reflect on my own process and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then we all learn together and our practices are more enriched as a result. What have you found to be true? Would you agree? Would you add on?
I would definitely agree. I usually go into our events with a pretty good understanding that, of what things mean for me. And then I always by the end of the event have so many more perspectives and possibilities of what, the topic that we're talking about is. So I love how when we come together as a community, everything we start out with a seed of a word or topic, and then it just blooms into something so much bigger than that.
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying the one singular idea that you have of the particular topic, because each conversation has one topic that we choose to work on, becomes more nuanced and enriched as a result because everybody adds their own perspective onto it. Yeah, I love that. I would agree too.
Yay.
You mentioned, and I don't want to give away too much of what you got going on, you mentioned that you were going to add a somatic experience to body language, which is the topic for this month, and talked about energy work, which was completely new for me to dive in. And now I'm kind of excited because I'm thinking, oh wow, this is something new. It's a new experience for me. I wonder how this is going to play out. And kind of in your live, you had mentioned that you were aware of some of these things intuitively. So as you discovered the process of energy work, you didn't realize that you were already encompassing that within your work. And in the energy work, you found the language for what you were doing. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I can't wait to discover your process and like see visually where that came to life for you. It's just really exciting to like learn and discover together.
I love it. And I would also like to add that probably every human alive is already doing energy work on themselves and they just don't realize it. They just don't have like the information that I have gathered over time of like, you know, this is what this does and this is what this means and stuff like that. So like, I think it's really cool that when we start to dive deeper into things, a lot of times or sometimes we find out that we actually like had some knowing of it all along. And I just think that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, so like I related to your discovery process of that in my own journey so I've been modeling for a decade, right? And the images that I would look back on and go, wow, I really love that body shape, or I love the tonal definition in this particular posture. When I started really diving into yoga, I realized, oh, a lot of the posing that I was doing intuitively that felt right and then aesthetically looked good for me, my body, was yoga poses. You know, maybe just like the toes were pointed, but they were yoga poses. And I was like, that's so interesting. I never did yoga before modeling, and then in modeling to become more flexible years afterwards, I was like, oh, those are really similar. And so when I heard your story about the, energy work, you're like, oh, and I had that same moment. So for me, I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to have a very similar moment as what you're talking about with this. So I can affirm that, yeah, people will probably go, yeah, I can see that within my own practice. Yeah. And I love that. I love that everybody, again, the reason why we're in the group is to learn from each other, and what you bring to the table is unique to you and the interests that you're, over here in your creative practice doing this thing, and someone's over here in their creative practice doing this thing, and the convergence of that, maybe I wouldn't be paying attention to this, but I get the opportunity to learn from your experience and your journey and like see the visual manifestation of that. That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think there's like an infinite amount of information that we could know, right? And there's no one person that can ever know everything. And it would probably be too big of a burden to know everything. So it's really wonderful that we can come together and like share what we know. And people, like, you don't have to pick up all of the pieces that we leave there for you. You get to like pick and choose like what works for you individually and be like, okay, so these things I really like, but those, they can be for someone else. And that's totally cool.
Yeah. I think that's, so something that we were talking about behind the scenes was that PDF takeaway. And, for me, it's difficult to, not go, I want to go in all these different directions, right? And the beauty of the PDF takeaway, whether you participate in the conversation or not, if you just sign up in the mailing list, you have access to the free takeaway, regardless. And in there is kind of like, summary of what you brought to the table, a summary of what Lior's brought to the table, a summary of what I brought to the table, a summary of what the community's brought to the table, and then some like reflective questions to really think about, okay, this is of interest to me, and how can I envision that within my own creative practice? And I thought, this is a really significant tool. Sometimes people can't participate in the event because it's on Saturday or they've got other things going on, family members, etc. And so I thought, wow, as a community service, if this wasn't something that I could actively participate in, that would be really brilliant for me alone, because I like reading and writing and reflecting on things, not only in the moment, but afterwards. I think that's really cool. I'm really glad that we offer that.
I think not only does like having the slideshow during the event help us stay on track and like make sure that we get to all of the things that we want to talk about, and help us remember to like take breaks and stuff, because breaks are important.
Yeah.
But it also like it's this like blueprint for the information that we can share with everyone, whether or not they can come. And I think some people are like, oh, I really want to come, but I have this thing going on. I love being able to still give everyone, whether or not they can actually be there, I love still being able to give everyone something to take away, and that at least has more information than when we started.
Love that you mentioned. Sorry, I'm laughing because I know how these conversations have a way of like veering and taking turns, which are a beautiful part of it. But it kind of sounds like we're a bunch of kids that are like, ooh, shiny thing, ooh, shiny thing, ooh, shiny thing. And then the visual slideshow is like, no, wait, let's stay on task here. I mean, as a group of artists, that is very often the case. Ooh, shiny thing. What are we over here talking about? We get lost in the little things. But to me, that tells me, there's so much that could be said about any one of these topics, and it's so hard to narrow down like what's adding versus okay, now we're over here. And in the picking process, this is something that again, like behind the scenes that folks may not be aware of. Good morning, everyone. It's really hard for us to slim down particular word, like the word that we want to choose, right? And how often have we gotten to choosing between two words and then we realize, oh wait, there's an overlap where this could be defined this way that also relates to this. And then we're just like, oh, it adds all these nuanced layers to like how we define and how we see the world. It's crazy.
Yeah. I love that the more we explore different facets and like different topics, the more we recognize that like everything is interconnected, because that's really what real life is, because everything is interconnected. We're all here on the same planet, so therefore we're connected. Like, I just think it's cool thinking about how not only do two people think of the same thing in different ways, but there's like way more than two people in the world. So like literally there's probably an infinite number of ways we can interpret something. And I think that's one of the really valuable things about our events is we get to learn from each other and see other perspectives and explore the whatever topic it is in like a whole lot of different ways and from a lot of different perspectives and places. And I've been really impressed and thankful for the like variety of different artists that come to these events so far, because that I think has really opened things up for us in terms of like newer perspectives and different ways to think about things.
I like that. You remember the conversation we had about, I think it was the word vision. We were citing between vision and inspiration and how close we thought that those words were. And then in one conversation, we discovered that they have overlapping principles, right? So it's this, both of them are ideas. They're non-tangible concept or idea, but one has longevity, so vision versus inspiration, which like you could be inspired by something and execute a photo shoot or a book or a movie or a process, but it's singular to process. And then vision was an overarching principle at a core of like an artist's manifesto, right? But they have overlapping like at a singular glance. And we discovered that through the conversation that there was a difference between them. And at first glance, we were like, oh, these words are so similar. Should they both belong on the list? Do they need to have separate events? And then in that conversation, we were like, yeah, I guess they do.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting that we came to that conclusion. Because I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was me that was like, they're so similar. Is there really like, should we do them in the same one? But yeah.
Well, it's just something that I've learned over time, and the beauty of being in this art collective with both yourself and Lior is that, we're three different artists, and even though we have similar practices, so we model and we do photography, we are distinctly different in the way that we view the world. And again, even though we're similar, we have nuanced differences. And in those conversations behind the scenes, so everyone's getting a behind the scenes to what goes on with going beyond the lens and the planning procedures this morning. You're welcome. The information you didn't need to know, but now you do. So like in those conversations where, we facilitate between ourselves the same thing that we facilitate with the artists in going beyond the lens, as an open space to learn from each other. And so you present an idea, where you're like, I think, and then we kind of extract and expand on it. And, no one's right or wrong. It's here's all the information on the table, take what you need. And that's what the most beautiful part about going beyond the lens is, like, everyone brings in their individual experiences or perspectives or what they're seeing and how they're interpreting it, lays it all out on the table. And then we kind of, like some of the members will say, oh, I didn't think about it this way. Here's something that I would add to that. Or have you considered this? And then we all think on it and we stew on it. And we're like, yeah, that really has changed or widened or broadened my perspective. And then you take that information into your creative practice. And how is it not enriched as a result,
I think I'm like maybe extra excited about this one, like this particular event. Because I feel like I know a lot about body language, and I'm excited to know what new things I'm going to learn, because like I know that there's going to be something that someone's going to bring up that I probably have never thought about before or considered, and then it's going to like open my mind even further, even though I already like am thinking about body language in two different ways, like through the way that you speak to people without any words through your body language, and then also the language of the body as your body speaking to you. I feel like there's probably even more ways to think about it than that. Like those are the two ways that I think about it, and I'm curious to see how other people have their understanding of it.
Yeah. So like you inspired me in our conversation to think about, of course, to me, it seems like the most obvious interpretation of body language is like how people are perceiving the language of the body within the image, right? And so I use some of that information when I'm constructing poses for particular shoots. So if photographers hire me for something very specific, I'm asking questions like, what kind of mood are you trying to emote? Or what are you trying to convey? And then I would, body language according to that, right? But then when I thought about what you were sharing, I was like, I have something that I'm kind of excited about that I've been steering about. And you know a little bit about it, and I can't give it away, as a process that we're going to try that's new during my artist share, that I'm like, ooh, this is going to be fun and exciting. We'll see how this works out. Oh, and to that point, there's another part of like, what I love about the group is not only do we get to share our experiences and talk about our expertise and our knowledge, but there's also the art share part, where we get to see artists sharing their work within the group, and then they talk about their work or share their process or share what they were going through or thinking in relation to the topic, each month's topic. And I think, wow, we've had some really great art shared that I may not have been exposed to anywhere else outside of this conversation. And that is an honor, that folks spend time uploading their art, sharing their art, and talking about their art. Like, I just feel so grateful to be in the space. Every time I leave, I'm like, ooh, I've got the warm fuzzies. This community is so nice.
Me too. I'm always like super bright sunshine, like vibrant after these. I'm just like,
yeah. I feel really grateful, and I hope that other folks feel the same. We've gotten a lot of good feedback thus far. Good morning, folks. Do y'all have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Have you ever participated? Have you been to a group? What did you like? What did you not like? We're always open to improvement. We want to make the space as welcome as possible. I see Doug is in here. Good morning. Thanks for being a participant in the Going Beyond the Lens series. we got a lot of people coming and going and saying hi. Good morning, folks. Anything else you might want to add, Bunny?
For this event, we have had, I think, only 2 or 3 artists share images so far. So I would really, really love to see more submissions if people are feeling called to. Because we still have a little bit of time before the event. So if they can get in their image submissions, we can add them before the event. And I'm like, I'd love to see your work. Please share your work with us.
Yeah, please do. So it's vital to do, I would say, before 12 p.m. tomorrow so that we can include it in the slideshow. And then we also send out the PDF, which is the slideshow. If you don't want your art included in that, you just shoot us a message and let us know. I do really love seeing all of the artwork, in particular in relation to the topic. And the topic is defined by you as an artist. So if you're wondering if you have work that applies to it or it doesn't, it applies to it by the way that you define it. You're the artist. You made the content. You get to define it. Thank you, Jen. Oh, and I want to make sure that folks know it doesn't have to be just an image. It could be like spoken word poetry, written down in a visual. It could be a video if you want to add a link. We could potentially include that as well. We haven't done that yet, really, but cool. We're always open to trying new things. That'd be super cool. Or like a sculpture, like you can, like a photo or a video of a sculpture that you've made, or I don't know, a performance piece. Yeah, we're open to all forms of art, really like cool. All of them. Did Lydia? I feel like Lydia Love participated in one of them and had. Was it a performance piece? There. Oh no, it was a drawing. Drawing from. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, that was really cool. Yay! I'm so excited that you participated in almost every one of them. And we've gotten to see your work as well. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. This community is so supportive, and I love that. Which, by the way, Bunny, if you get a minute, Raquel has some self-portraits that are mind-blowing. If you take a look at their account. Yeah, I've seen some of them. I really, I think there was a like mini series that was like the bride and the groom. And I thought that was very cool. I very much loved that. The like playing with gender. I'm obsessing about them. Yeah. I'm so glad that you brought it up because I've been secretly obsessing about them. Like, oh, they're so good. Yeah, I love anything that like plays with gender, of course, especially now. Let's see. Okay, so our event's tomorrow. There's a link in all of the bios. So Lior's bio, Benny's bio, my bio, and the Going Beyond the Lens account. They're free, absolutely free. Please sign up whether you are able to go or not go, because you will have access to the free PDF, which will have a summarization of all the goodies and insights that you can learn from participating. Let's see. Oh, and it might even include the updates for when the next series might come out. I'm not sure. I can't make a promise on there. At least join the mailing list. You'll get all the invitations. There you go. And we try to have I don't know what you call it, like a voting between what 2 topics we want. So keep an eye out for that. And at the very least, attend even just a portion of the event so you can get an idea of what we got going on. I super appreciate that the group is growing, but most importantly, if you're going to participate, please post some of your work or submit it to the form. We'd love to see it during the art share process. If anyone is wondering how they can submit work, when you register for the event, there's a link in the questions that you have to answer before you can like finalize your submission. And I think there's also on the like main info on the event page, there's also a link for where you can like submit your image. It's through a Google form. So if you get to that form and you're like, what's this? It's the right place to be. That's where you submit your image or video or whatever your artwork is. Yeah, and I would also add to that, you can always email us at goingbeyondthelens@gmail. We're super friendly. We're able to help. We go through the technical issues. We'll help you as best as possible. Yeah. Anything else you might want to add, Bunny?
I don't think so. I want to like keep most of the, detail goody things for the event, but yeah, I'm just really excited to hang out with y'all tomorrow.
I know, me too. It's been a long week, and this is like the highlight of the week. And I hope that Lior is getting some rest. And Lior touched base with you?
I haven't heard from Lior since I think it was Wednesday. I know they're still recovering, so I'm not sure if they'll be available Saturday or not. So hopefully they will.
Yeah, just a heads up, folks. Lior was dealing with some health issues, and I've taken some time to rest and recoup. We're hoping that they'll be able to join us on Saturday. So everyone, send warm, fuzzies, well wishes, and vibes that they get enough rest and can recoup. We'll greatly miss them if they are not able to participate, but know that they are trying.
And they'll be there in spirit if they can't be there in person.
100%, I feel that. Thanks, Doug. All right, bye, y'all. Good morning. Enjoy the